Hey everyone, welcome to Lissen Up. Today we're joined by Mae Mae. Hi Mae Mae.
Hi.
So, every time I tell the story of how I met people, do you want to tell the story of how we met? Because it's a bit weird.
It is pretty weird.
Go ahead.
So I was doing a So Far Sounds gig where they kind of just compile a bunch of different artists into one secret little performance night where we would all perform. And I was doing one of the performances with my dad was the artist, and he's a songwriter. So I was singing some of his songs. So during sound check, was it the MC of the night?
Yeah, the MC.
Yeah,
His
so
name
you're
is
friends
Roberto.
with the MC, Roberto.
Yeah.
And he was watching our sound check, and then he texted you. Is
Yeah.
that right? He said...
Takes you a small snippet. It's like, I think you were singing Big Girls Don't
Yeah,
Cry.
yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. He said, you should come. And so, yeah.
And so you just kind of came there, and then
Yeah.
we started talking, and
Yep.
that's kind of how it happened, right?
And here we're at. And then yesterday I joined you where you guys were like working on some, I don't know, marketing material, I guess, like tagging walls.
The mural, yeah.
In London. Yeah.
That
the
kind of
mural.
thing.
I don't even know how to tell it, but like, yeah. and it was super fun, like to see you like working on all the marketing content.
Oh,
So
yeah.
for me, it's the rock, paper, scissors. That was
That was, we wouldn't have had those ideas without you. You're really good. You're really good with content.
It's because Coco trained me well. I'm the Padawan here. You see, like he's like the master behind the camera. He's just like, so I'm just the puppet. It's like,
No, he's training you to become his heir.
He's
You're gonna overtake him.
well, listen, look, he has the notepad. I don't have the notepad yet. You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh, that's so professional.
It's getting there. But so yeah, that was a super cool way to meet. A lot of people we meet here actually, we got in touch through Instagram or like basically on the web or socials. So it's really nice to meet people face
cool
to
to
face
meet
for
in
the
real
first
life.
time.
So far is good for that,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, exactly. So far is like such an amazing organization. So so we did this, and basically you were singing some cover versions of some songs, and at the same time you like told me about your new EP that you're releasing.
Yeah.
Right?
I just released it 3 days ago.
Uh-huh.
It's called Erosion, and it has my 4 songs from the past 2 years that I'm most proud of. So it kind of encompasses like my whole journey of songwriting and production and learning, because I wrote and produced it and mixed it myself. So it kind of encompasses like my whole journey of learning how to do that and getting comfortable with it.
So this is why I love getting in the conversation, like what's your relationship with music? So you have this new EP with 4 songs, right? Mm-hmm. And if I understood properly, like you wrote a bit more than 4 songs, right?
Oh, I've written so many. Yeah.
Okay. So you wrote like arguably maybe like 2 figures, like a lot of songs, right? These ones are the one that you like the most.
Yeah.
I like The Stars.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's my most recently written one of the entire EP actually.
Okay.
I wrote it in April.
And so is it going to be your second single, or how do you organize it? Do you have like a plan to release the album?
I wish I had more of a plan coming in, because I was just kind of like, you know, when people ask me at gigs like, oh, do you have music released? It's kind of embarrassing to be like, it's coming soon, you know? So I wanted it to be out there so people could see it and I would have something to show for it. But now I'm kind of wishing I came out with more of a plan, because I'm just kind of out here, out and about, you know?
I feel you. A lot of artists I talk to, a lot of time, because let's say the creative side of your brain, I guess, is not connected or cannot operate at the same time than the business side of your brain a lot of time, right?
For sure.
It cannot occur in parallel. And so when you're just like, let's be super creative for 2 years, and then just like, really, I need to release it. It's like kind of like closure / next phase of like, let's see what people think about it. And then you think about business, which is not a good business decision. You should anticipate. But like, so now that you release it, for example, and you realize how, I guess, scary, it's like, it's also like very exciting, I guess, at the same time.
It's crazy, yeah.
The
in
marketing,
all regards.
So what are your plans regarding, like, let's say now you release it, right? It's just like, marketing is useful.
Yeah.
So what do you have in mind at the minute, for example? Do you want to try something, or do you want to leave it as is?
Well, I feel like my kind of plan is to go on TikTok, because actually like a couple weeks ago, like a month ago or so, I put out this TikTok of me singing a song, and it's almost at 1 million views now, which is like pretty big for me because that's like how much it's the most it's ever gotten to. And on that, people were like, "Oh, I want to see your music. Are you releasing music?" And I'm like, "I am." So now that I realize TikTok is kind of an option because like I feel like as a Gen Z, it kind of caters to other Gen Zs. So it's easier for me to like put out content on TikTok or like on social media where it resonates with other people my age. Yeah. So I think, you know, feeling it out on TikTok, posting covers, posting my own songs, or just content in general, that's kind of the direction I want to go on.
I like her. She's like, well, it just reached 1 million. I'm like, Mae Mae, like, what are you doing? Like, it's okay. it's like I've been lucky. I got also like some videos that went viral, but like it was snippets of other videos, and so it's already the fact that if it was something that you created yourself, and that resonated with other people, then it means that you might have a way to actually start marketing yourself, right? Yeah. So TikTok would be for you the main channel.
Yeah, for sure.
You're also on Instagram, and how do you what's the deal with Snapchat?
I don't know how Snapchat works.
It's still alive.
I gotta be honest, I have no clue how it works. I just know you send photos to like friends.
Okay, so you have
the snap streaks.
It's I really don't know because there are still a lot of people on Snapchat, like, and for example, like my girlfriend is from Iceland, right? In Iceland, it's massive. It's bigger than TikTok. Yeah. And it feels like in some...
Man, what have I been doing? Yeah.
Well, I'm cross-posting, for example, right? Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I have a relatively stable and growing amount of views over there. Mm-hmm. But TikTok, I've been like, I know there's no shadow ban on TikTok normally, but like literally I had like 1 view per video for like a month, exactly 30 days. So now this is where you can make fun of me, right, with your million. And then
that was kind of
it started to get back to normal with like a few thousands and so on. So I don't know exactly how the algorithm works on TikTok.
I have no clue how the algorithm works.
So that was my first stuff. It's just like, how do you feel like, because of course, like Gen Z, right? Now we're like, I have one. We have one Gen Z person.
Yeah.
But they exist. They live in real life.
In the flesh.
So it's like, my whole point is, how do you feel about these platforms, socials, right? To think a bit business and society for a sec, right? Mm-hmm. That you basically give all this content for free on these platforms because they are ad supported. That's how they make money, right? Mm-hmm. So you know that you're the product at the end of the day, right? If you don't pay, at some point someone is going to come to collect. Is it a part of the conversation with your group of friends, for example, about the fact that you're aware that there is one company and one algorithm that actually determines everything you're going to see about the world online? How do you feel about this? I was just talking
about that with some people. Yeah, because I feel like TikTok, even in the last 2 years, has changed so much. You know, like when I first wrote the oldest song on my EP, that was 2 years ago, I was not planning on releasing it because I was like, oh, you have to get into a big label and then they're going to, you know, have control of your entire life. And then TikTok has changed into, because businesses realize that it can be used to influence the youth, because, you know, all the youth is on TikTok. After companies realized that, they kind of realized it could be turned into a business tactic, I feel like. And so I feel like a lot of companies are using that now in order to influence people to like their beliefs, or like to, you know, market their own products. Because I feel like all of the businesses have turned to TikTok. Even the music industry has pivoted entirely, you know? So like it's a little unnerving how quickly it's happened, I feel like. And but I also feel like in some ways it's a good change, because even though the big companies are on TikTok, it also means that the littler people, the artists, can also, you know, be out there and still, you know, influence other people through that.
Because you have that reach, right? It seems like there is no gatekeeper. Here we talk a lot about dopamine also. Yeah. Which is, again, nerd, right? Like,
no, I love talking about that.
For me, like something I say a lot is that I actually, a lot of time, I feel a bit sorry for Gen Z, because you grew up in a world with so much dopamine. It's like it's all around you. You have no choice. And I grew up, so I'm not 64 years old, right? But I grew up, so what I say, my whole thesis is that we had 3 phases of consumer application. The first one, application not specifically online, right? So 3 phases. The first one was you grew up in real life, internet arrived, and you discovered the pros and cons of the digital life, right? But I knew the pros and cons of the physical life, right? Then there's you. You grow up digitally. Everything is so easily accessible. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So you grow up digitally, and then you discover IRL, physical life, right?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
You discover the pros and cons.
It's definitely how it's worked.
Right. And now I feel like the best would be to actually start thinking about how these 2 worlds, physical and digital, could actually collaborate a bit better. Like, for example, So Far Show.
Yeah.
Could be big on TikTok, or last time there was Selena, I think, and so on. But still also be connected with real life. And I think music is the best medium for that.
For sure.
Because if you do gaming, well, your art form is, or your means of expression is online anyways.
It's like impossible to, have an entirely physical video game, It's called a video game.
Exactly. It's called real life.
Yeah.
And so my point is that now with music, I think this is the best art form where you can actually bridge physical and digital life. So how do you feel about this? Like, makes sense?
Yeah, that's a super interesting concept, I feel like, because for music, it's kind of perfect in that way. It's the same with a lot of like art forms, like, drawing or like, dancing, stuff like that. But I feel like music, you can connect with it on so many levels. Like you can see people play it live in real life. So that's like the physical aspect you were talking about. Or listen to it on a platform like on Spotify or Apple Music. Yeah. Or you can, watch videos of people doing it. There are music videos for songs. And that's just, there's so many different mediums of like connecting with music on different levels. That's super cool.
I hope this is where it's going. This is like what I'm building is really for this. It's really like when you're doing your show last time, it's super cool to see people digitally with just like, I want to support Mae Mae, right? I was like, it's super cool. She sings really well. The pianist guy was okay. Like I think he was performing pretty much okay. Yeah. And then I can't wait for him to see that clip. It's gonna be so funny. The pianist was all right, and so that you basically can bridge that. For me, that's the most beautiful. And then the way I see it is that how can you then find a way to step off the treadmill, because this is recorded music and live music, right? This has existed for the last 40 years. Now, what do you do as an artist between the release of 2 singles? For example, now you have Erosion, Imagine, I cross my fingers, like the Stars is the second one. Mm-hmm. What do you do in between to keep your fans entertained or engaged or get new fans? Yeah. What's your vision of it? How do you feel like you could do in between, right?
Yeah, my goal is to definitely start playing more live shows, because I feel like that's how on social media, people can see your videos and just breeze right past them. They can be like, oh, that's a nice video. Anyways, you scroll. But in real life, people have the time and like the attention that's just funneled in on you. They have the ability to connect with you. And that's kind of how I feel like it might be easier to like find like real fans who will, be there with you. But also I feel like social media has that error in it where like people it's being fed to you, so it's randomized by the algorithm, of course, but it's still pretty randomized. So, you're on social media and you're being fed this random stream, and it's so hard to like, pick out a single pinpoint of who you want to see and like of what you want to see from them. So you can it's usually just scrolling really, but
that's my issue with it, is that when we say it's hard, it's not a concept of labor. Yeah. It's like a concept of crossing fingers.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's so hard to be noticed. And there is an algorithm somewhere, a server. I'm a former IT engineer, right?
Yeah.
So it's just servers, right? So you have code somewhere that's going to determine what you're going to see as a consumer. And even if like you just did the best video right now, if for whatever reason the algorithm doesn't believe, we talk about AI right after, but like the algorithm doesn't assess that this is of value, because remember, they do this because they want advertising revenue, right? So it's not in your interest, it's in their interest first, right? It's in business. They will not push it. And for me, this is what is missing. And that's why a part of what I believe is that you need actually something else. Why? Because otherwise you're just basically a constant dancing monkey, right? Instead of the treadmill of releasing song every week, now you have another treadmill, which is release content, because I separate both, right? You just release content all the time, but really like throwing stuff at the wall and just hoping it sticks.
Yeah.
That's my little beef with it. It's just like, it's not really hard. You don't know, you cannot quantify labor. You know what I mean? You just cross your fingers. Versus if, for example, just like yesterday, right? So you have people doing a mural and you are brainstorming marketing ideas, for example, right? Yeah. A lot of your fans, in my opinion, would actually love being there. Yesterday, when I was there, I enjoyed it a lot. And so for me, this is what the companies like Patreon, for example, are trying to experiment with. The only limitation I would say is that it's only digital at the minute, right? It's very hard to organize, I don't know, some kind of
real life meetups,
Yeah, exactly. Some kind of meet and greet or digital meet and greet, for example. I think it's hard. That's what I think we should be building. That's what I'm trying to build for sure. That's it's
really cool. I feel like even people who, like when you're making like marketing ideas and, you know, like with the mural and stuff, there were even people who like who didn't really know what was going on, but they were still interested. They were still like looped in. That also happened to me when I did like a feature song with Casey Abrams called Gloomy Day, which is another thing that I released. But with that, we were filming the music video just on a tree, on a hike. So we were both sitting on a tree with our instruments and playing along to the song and everything. And just people were walking by because it was a hiking trail. And they were seeing what was going on because it was the creative process. They were seeing that and they were getting like, oh my God, what's going on? And then they, like, some of the people who were there still listen to the songs today.
This is so good. This is really like the pipeline to acquire a fan. In the flesh.
Well, that was like accidental. I don't really know.
This is so cool.
People are not really spectators. We just want to see something nice.
Yes. And the fact that you're in a tree when I was saying dancing monkeys just before, like, you were, like impersonated.
No, we were just sitting on the branch.
What do you do? Just sitting on a branch, minding my own business.
It was really fun, though. Yeah.
And this, for example, I'm sure that you have a lot of footage that must be hilarious from that day, or like very entertaining, for example.
Oh, yeah.
But because you're trying to cater that to a massive audience, that would be TikTok, for example, first of all, you have to pick your battles and you have to check what you're going to release, right?
Yeah.
Versus if you would actually have a direct connection with your fan base, the old school way is a newsletter, right? But like a way to tell them, guys, like, this is the video dump of today, right? If it's your fans, they will actually go there. I mean, like, if you go on this TikTok, even Instagram now, right? Everything is a for you algorithm, which means that it's not specifically the people you follow, which is the concept of a newsletter. I just receive things from people that I gave my email to, right? The for you is like, we're a company in between. We're going to determine what you're going to like. And the issue is that now, when you have your cool video, when you're in the tree, right? And you have maybe a lot of outtakes that can be really entertaining, where do you put them? Because maybe the algorithm doesn't like it. And you're on TikTok and you're competing with the KSI and the Taylor Swift of this world. And so the range is like you have actors, painters, musicians, versus if it would be on a music platform, I think it would make way more sense, because now you have like another Mae Mae on the other side of the world that is also trying to think how she's going to like cater to her fan base. And I think she'll be like, God damn it, in LA they're going trees. This is so cool. You know what I mean? But it's about music. The point is that they would understand that you're doing this to showcase to the audience who you are. Because again, you could go on a tree, you could go do anything else. It's you. That's what makes you special. You yourself wanted to go in that tree. I think this is what is the most entertaining for me. That's why yesterday I really liked being with you guys, because like you decided to do the mural. I never thought about doing a mural. So as a fan, for example, I'm just like, I have that direct connection with you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, what are you going to think of next? And this is something I relate on you. That's why my point is that for the music platforms, the way we're going to market our platform is like, it's not we have 100 million songs, it's we have X million artists. And that's a segue to AI. Smooth. Like, what do you think? What's your perspective at the moment regarding AI?
I think it's going too fast. It's like a little terrifying, you know, because there's just so much going on. It's like how phones happened. Like when I was born, the first iPhone came out.
Okay, calm down now. It's okay. Now that's so.
That's how fast it went. That's how fast everything is.
It went
gone.
fast. You are correct.
That's how like everything in the tech world has just gone so quickly. Everything is always like, you know, always changing, but this is like insanely drastic, you know? It's like, it's wild where everyone's going. And now AI has just kind of been thrown into the mix and it's like, what's going on, you know? I know like the tech companies want to experiment with like the newest thing, but it's also like, we just got used to TikTok. We just got used to like iPhones in general. Like, what's going on? Yeah, it's crazy.
I agree. The innovation cycle is so short at the minute that it's a bit scary. Like for example, for you, for me, AI, I have like two different things I would like to discuss. But you like record, you do everything yourself, right? You told me like if you can just spend like a bit more time on how you did your EP, right?
Yeah.
What's your songwriting process from the moment you have the idea to the moment it lands on the album? Like, what does it look like?
There's a lot that goes into it. Well, I'd say like, I started playing guitar just so that I could write songs with it because I found that I resonated more with, you know, guitar as an instrument. So I was like, usually what I do is I, you know, mess around on the guitar until I find an idea on there that I like. And I'm also I love writing. So I write a lot of poetry, I write a lot of journal, and that also really helps me to, you know, find ideas that were just kind of hiding in my head that I couldn't really find before. It kind of brings them into the light. So I'll combine my little guitar idea with something I've been brainstorming in my journal, or like I jotted down on a bus in my phone, on my notes documents, or like, you know, just like little bits and snippets of what I've gathered inspiration from throughout the day, throughout the week. I don't know, whatever's going on in my head, in my heart, like what I feel. Mm-hmm. So I take that emotional idea and combine it with the physical idea of the guitar, and that's kind of how like I kind of start writing a song. And if it blooms from there, you know, if you find that first idea and you really resonate with it, like the rest of the lyrics just kind of pour out. Like the melody and the lyrics, like I've written some songs like really quickly in like half an hour, just because I don't have to, you know, I love writing by myself because I don't have to bounce ideas to other people. I know what I want in my head. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how the song gets written at first. And then if I really feel strongly about it, if it gets stuck in my own head a lot, I'll, you know, go down to my little garage studio and I have my tiny little microphone there. And I'll just record the whole idea and, you know, kind of expand it out from there, flesh it out with like more guitars, a stack in the vocals, lots of harmonies. I love harmonies, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, like you put harmonies like everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I love harmonies. They really resonate with me. Yeah. And I kind of produce it in the way that my inspiration has like gotten me to, because I take inspiration from everything, you know, everything that I like, I just kind of want to take a little bit of and carry it on with me. So I'll produce the song and I'll just keep sitting on it until I feel really good about it.
So this here, like about song production, right?
Yeah.
Because I suck at it. So for example, on songwriting process, you're like lyric first, melody second. Mm-hmm. I'm the opposite, right? So me, I mess around with the guitar and it's like, I can't like write something before the melody, right? So I'll be like messing around guitar melody and then write something that makes sense with that melody, right? If it's sad or whatever. So, but so far, okay, we could like songwrite together, it's okay. Then I tried music production and I'm really, really bad at it. But like, it's ridiculous, right? And so when I moved to London, the target was to record an album.
Yeah.
Of course, I arrived and I spent 6 months here and I was like, okay, now I'm ready. Everyone started talking about COVID. I'm like, yes, great timing, Ben.
Yeah.
So, well, that didn't work out. And then I was literally like in my flight during COVID, where I would there was my bed and I found another mattress and I would build some kind of a tent
That
to
sounds
try
amazing.
to record.
Yeah.
I have the pictures, right? So I would put like pillows on the side. It would be like this kind of weird triangle. And I would put the cover and I would go under, right? At a grown man, right? I'm like, yep, I'm an adult. And I would sing something and then it would never sound good. And I had that microphone and then I had to start thinking about mics, to start thinking about production, post-production, / mastering.
Yeah,
And my
it's a
nose
lot.
is bleeding at that time. I'm out. And then I tried to do it online with some people. It didn't work out because again, you can't really express what you want.
Yeah.
And you tell me, I do everything, Ben. I'm like, yeah, okay, calm down.
I mean, I started over quarantine.
Okay.
Because I got, I was a
12.
12-year-old kid who I couldn't talk to any of my friends. I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck in my own bedroom, and that's kind of just how
Fair.
my creative output happened, was just because I was so isolated. Like something had to come out of that,
Fair.
That's kind of how it worked with me, but I don't know.
But and did you manage to, so fair, but did you manage to find joy in it? So do you enjoy music production?
I love music production, but that's because my version of production is just kind of recording. I don't use a lot of MIDI plugins or I don't use a lot of synth, built-in sounds or anything. I just really take my guitar and I start recording different little pieces, different little ambient sounds with it, or just the strumming itself, because I love picking patterns and everything. So I managed to fill up the space just with my own audio recordings instead of using MIDI things, because I'm pretty terrible at that too.
Get it? I like just trying to make me feel good, but no, I'm terrible
so
at
bad
things,
with
Ben.
synth production and everything.
Okay, that's okay. You have this, but it's this is so cool. So in this process, right? I think you use Logic, right?
Mm-hmm. I use Logic.
So same, I
Love
Logic, and
it's the best.
Yeah, it's if you know how to use it, which I'm not at yet. So when you use it, for example, to combine this, so what I did with AI, you now have all these plugins that you can put in there. For example, you can do mastering, and you can also extract.
Oh my god, the mastering AI.
Yeah,
I love it.
Okay, so this is my point. With AI as a complementary tool, right?
Yeah.
As an assistant, in my opinion, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of stuff, for example, doing the EQ on a
It's
guitar
painful.
picking pattern.
Yeah.
Just right.
A lot of things are just so tedious. They don't even take up skill, they just take up time.
Yes.
And I feel like AI can, when it's used as a tool in assisting with the creative process instead of taking it over, I think it can really be useful.
Yeah.
I saw this really interesting thing that I don't know where I saw it, probably Instagram or something, but it was
Say TikTok. It's TikTok. No, I'm
I don't
kidding.
know if
I'm
it was.
kidding.
I use Instagram more than TikTok.
I'm kidding.
But
I'm kidding.
it was what was it? Okay, hold up. So it was
We have time.
it was talking about AI and how it didn't want to take over the creative process, but rather be a part of taking over the things that you don't. Taking over the things that are tedious,
Yeah. There's this TikTok, or Instagram. There's this video about, I think it's a lady saying okay, it's cool AI, you can do more music, but we already had a lot of music. What about you do my dishes?
That might have been what I saw, actually.
So this one, right? It's wash my laundry.
Exactly.
And do my dishes. This is what I need help with. For example, no one said we don't have enough music.
I remember it now. It was, you don't want the AI to make art so that I can do the dishes and the laundry. I want the AI to do the dishes and the laundry so I can make art.
Yes.
I remember this.
Yes, exactly. This is so true. Mm-hmm. It's that's one of the things with this big music AI company Suno Audio. It's what problem are you fixing? That being said, they are fixing some problems, right? So it's not a one argument, right? It's a bit more complex than that. But yeah, it's about how do we ensure that it fixes actually real problems and things we do. It's the great code. It's a good one. The fear, of course, with AI is that it's not a normal tool. Mm-hmm. It can actually become smart, which means that it can actually replace entirely a part of activities. I don't know if you tried Suno Audio.
I have no clue what that is, not gonna lie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's these big AI music companies, and they're being sued at the moment by big labels because so in AI you need to train your large language model. So you have the input is basically something that was
Internet
already
stuff.
generated. So
Yeah.
your songs, for example,
Yeah.
anyone has songs. You put that in the machine, in the large language model, and this is a neural network. So it works really like a brain, right?
Yeah.
And you basically connect dots in a way. So the other input is to say, give me like a Sunday rainy day mood.
Yeah.
Right? And it will generate an output that is a song. The point is that now it became really, really good. And so some of these songs, for example, okay, it's not Queen, right?
Yeah.
But
It's not
it
innovative.
sounds really good. It's also not something that could not land in the top 40, for example. It's really something that is really good. So at the moment, the big debate on the intellectual property you talked about before, the labels, what you have to sign and so on, is fair use. Were you allowed to use this as an input for free
Yeah.
without
That's
paying the
interesting.
artist? And the output is like, wait a minute, what do we do with humans?
Yeah.
Right? Because if now AI could theoretically replace all the songs, what does this leave us with, right? Because we still want to see you perform at So Far Sound, but now the point is, we also would like to know that you wrote your own songs.
Yeah, for sure.
But now with AI, people could actually have something written for them. The equivalent of a ghostwriter, to be honest, right? So it already exists in the music industry, right? So it's not like if it's new, it's just that now you would have no way to prove it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
For sure.
Before you could say, no, I was in the studio with you. We wrote the lyrics together,
Yeah.
right? Now, someone, anywhere in the world could actually use that, write the
Use
songs.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT it, right? And then we just, I don't know, go somewhere else and say, oh, I just had the idea of that song. And actually it's not true. There is no way to prove it. Which is, again, something your generation will have to face. I don't know how you're going to fix it. I'm going to try to help, but it's a bit scary.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
But yeah, that's why I don't know exactly. But that's to close the AI stuff, not to spend too much time on it. Like when you talked about how you wanted to market yourself, so you said that on TikTok, you had some like kind of viral stuff. So your biggest following now is like TikTok, Instagram? Or
Yeah, I'd say TikTok.
Okay, TikTok. And so now your point would be to do what? To do a bit like what you've done before, to like share snippets of you expressing yourself and your skills?
Yeah.
Or do you want to try to do stuff like a bit like more marketing wise of like, I don't know, a mural, all this kind of stuff?
I don't know,
what
it's
do you have
kind
in
of
mind?
scary.
That sounds scary.
I mean, to me, it's just kind of like this whole EP has just kind of been like a, bedroom project that I just kind of compiled. And now that it's out, I realize like I really want people to hear it. I really want it to be seen. So I'm just kind of getting around to all of that right now. I think I still need to like figure out like, what I'm going for, what's going on in the music industry, because that's always changing. Like there's so much to keep track of,
Yeah, because we just talked about being signed, for example. A lot of people now want to go independent.
Yeah.
This is why like we had like boring people like with the royalty models and how everything works. But indeed, when you sign to a label or to a publisher, for example, you give up a part of your intellectual property. It's called copyright in music. So for this, like, do you have in mind like, oh, it would be easier for me to sign, for example, with a label because, well, the deal is I don't want to do a lot of the things you guys will do for me. For example, marketing, which is a big thing, and a lot of artists just want to stay creative, which is fine. And when I say artists, I mean songwriters, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
everyone creative in the music
Well,
industry.
I mean, a lot of artists, not just music industry.
Oh yeah, everyone. And so so now basically with this project, you're gonna like figure out what you want to do, and then you're gonna determine what things you want to outsource basically versus doing yourself? Or how do you see it? What's your learning process at the moment with the EP?
Trial and error.
Try and error.
Trial and error.
So for music
We're out
production
there.
and so on, you have all of this ready. Like you have this, you master that, and now you're gonna basically try and error on the marketing side of things because you want people to hear your music.
Yeah, just kind of, when you're scrolling through TikTok, you'll see people who are, marketing their songs, and you can kind of like, not stealing, but I'm taking inspiration from them and like seeing how they promote their music and what resonates with their fans, like what gets likes, what gets follows from them, like in terms of how they promote their own music, like whether it's a cover or they're like posting videos with the with their song as the sound on it or like any of that, you know. I just kind of see what's going on, see what resonates, and you know, try my luck at it. That's kind of what I'm aiming for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What is funny is that according to the platform, sometimes the same content will perform or not. So this is where you see like it's not purely correlated to your efforts or to if the content you created for marketing is actually very smart. It's just correlated to the algorithm. So something that would blow up on TikTok might do like 200 views on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which is really
I've seen
weird.
that. It's pretty odd. Yeah.
A lot of my videos are like this. So
exactly. Yeah.
like
Every platform has its own algorithm and its own like how it caters to fans. So it's like totally different for YouTube Shorts versus even YouTube like videos.
Yeah.
And it's different for TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and all those different social media things.
Do you feel in the States, so you're based in California, right?
I'm based in LA.
Which is really funny because I heard that there's a big debate between North California and South California. So North is the tech companies and South is the creatives, right?
Really?
I
mean,
read
I
this
don't know.
online.
Maybe.
I'm just a creative.
yeah.
So it's really funny because in the same states, in the US, you have actually like two big systems at war. Like the companies, like the major labels and stuff that are in South California don't want OpenAI and all these tech and Google and all these tech companies.
California is huge.
Yeah.
It could be a country, man. It's massive.
Yeah. You know, it's really interesting that, but like within the same country, like you actually at the forefront of these two big industries, but there is no bridge.
Yeah, I guess people like the West Coast.
It's
something in the air.
It's really interesting. And so, wow, this is okay. My brain's going. So now you're gonna prototype with marketing. Try to take a look at how people are marketing their own songs. Do you feel like the live aspect of things when you're going to perform is going to play a bigger role so that the content you're going to put is fully correlated to what you do in real life?
Well, I think about like live shows that like they can really help. And also you can use them as content as well. Like you can post like live snippets.
Yeah.
And they kind of, you know, tell the world that you're out there. You're not just staying still and you're performing. You're like, people can see you. Like if I see a clip online of an artist performing live, and it's an artist that I like, I'm like, oh my God, since they're doing shows, I want to go to a show, you know? Yeah. And like
to get out there. Like
like posting your live shows that you've done on a social media platform as content can kind of tell the world like, I'm here, I'm doing things, come see me, you know?
I'm real. It feels like recently that shifted a bit. Like we used to have like, again, 2-3 years ago, content super edited. Like you could imagine this was just a green screen all along. And now it feels like people want something a bit more real, right?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I think that's really correct because a lot of things on TikTok that have performed well overall are just very raw, you know, filmed with an iPhone like that. You know, you just kind of do it super low quality, not low quality, but super, you know, DIY. You do it yourself, literally just. That's
how we call it, right? DIY?
I feel like that kind of comes with like connotations though of like being worse than something that was made in a big studio with a large production. Even though it doesn't really, like it can be just as good, and it definitely performs better on like social media platforms. I feel like since there's just so many people who are doing that DIY stuff, it's like it kind of rules out all of the stuff that's done like really professionally. Just through sheer number, because there's just so much of it, you know.
I wanted your opinion because I just discovered again TikTok, not too much my thing, right?
Yeah,
I'm there. We love them. Really not too much my thing. When I'm on this, like I could feel the dopamine. Yeah. Like I'd scroll a bit and then after I just put the phone down because I'm like, this is
that's the hard
so
part.
Addictive. Yeah.
Putting the phone down, that's
I'm just like, I'm really lucky that I didn't grow up in this, to be honest, because it's so scary to me. No, that's why I want to talk about it with you because it's just like, I understand why it's super entertaining, for example. And for me, when I see like the Twitch live stream and
Oh my
like
God, I
the
forgot
Kai
about
Cenat
that.
and stuff, it's the same than when in the 90s, like people used to watch live TV, right? It's the
MTV
same.
and stuff. Yeah.
Right, and you had
That's just a
MTV with
worse
the
version
clips.
of MTV.
Yeah, so my whole point is that now at least everyone can be a content creator versus before it's just like the cable like was determining who can put content out there. So in that regard, I think it's a bit better. But they mastered, physiologically speaking, like how to hook you up on the app, right? Which is great because they want your eyeballs, because they want to have money from advertising, right?
Yeah, attention.
And yeah, but indeed, like the content, for example, that I found there that actually hooked me up the most was there was Charlie Puth,
Charlie Puth.
Puth, right? I
Yeah.
don't know how to say his name.
No, that's right.
Sorry, Charlie. Where he was doing the light switch song.
yeah,
when he
that
was,
song.
we could follow his process of songwriting. This, I think,
Yeah,
was
those
very
were
cool.
massive. I remember seeing those all over my page. Like,
Yeah.
what if we added some piano? And
Yeah.
then the bass went like,
That
I've
was
seen so
really
many
cool.
of those. Yeah.
Yeah. This was really cool. And then, like, it was for someone already famous, right? But then there was that song again that I discovered a year later. I remember going to Coco to be like, "This is really cool. We could do a cover of this." Like, Ben is 1 year old. He's like, "I'm 2 days into college,
I don't know.
and I'm 2 lectures behind." You saw that video?
I don't know that.
Super cool. Like, I don't remember the name of this girl. Sorry about this, but like, great song, and everyone made a cover of this. So I'm 2 days into my co-working gig, and whatever, I need to do something. The melody was it's really cool, right? A bit like I'm looking for a finance guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Oh my
looking for
God, no, not that one.
What's that stuff? Whatever.
No, I know what you're on
So
about,
that
yeah.
one went viral, in my opinion, for not reasons as good as this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I found this lady called Elise Myers, I think, and she has a song called Unhinged. She became famous with the taco story, the dating taco story, when she said like she had to buy 100 tacos on a date with a guy. I don't know if you guys-
100.
Yeah, no, the story is really good, right? But she went off social media, right? And so she has like millions of followers on TikTok, deleted everything.
Oh my God.
And like she has a husband, kids and stuff. And so she's really cool. And she has this song called Unhinged. And she just posted on TikTok the a cappella version of it. And then a guy, magic of TikTok, right? As toxic as it can be, it could also bring like a lot of cool collaboration stuff, right? Where a guy put the guitar on it.
Yeah,
And it's a song I'm like, that could be in the top 40.
for
Like,
sure.
Amazing song. So this, for me, TikTok is really great for that.
That is something I love about TikTok, is that there's so many little communities in it. Even like it's so collaborative in some aspects, like with the duet and like Stitch, or just like, people can build on each other and like they can discover each other from there. And I feel like even though there's the one side of it that like as the consumer you can scroll a lot and you can kind of fall into that loop, there's also as a creator on it you can meet a lot of people, get a lot of inspiration from other people, build on their ideas. So it's definitely like a two-sided thing. There's pros and cons, like just
Yeah.
as the physical world and digital world, there's pros and cons in everything.
Yeah. Are you thinking about doing this, for example, with your EP? Like just to, for example, release part of your song, like, or where you sing just a cappella, for example, or there's just the guitar, just to see what people would do with it?
That's a cool idea.
And I don't know, you just gave me the idea when you were talking about this. I'm just like, if you're already familiar with it and you know the communities where people are doing this, it seems to make sense. Then the issue, of course, to be like the boring guy and to play the devil's advocate, there is the question with IP, right? Because then if everyone is remixing your song, who owns it?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't remember who
Now
said
there's
that.
the business aspect of things.
Yes.
That's what I'm not good at.
Yeah, no,
So-
but because when you have like, I don't know, 10,000 streams, we're all collaborative. But then when you have a number one and you have millions of dollars behind who controls the IP,
Yeah.
suddenly you don't want to be that collaborative.
Yeah.
You're just like, I wrote it myself. And someone will be like, I did the drums. Or someone like, I did the snares. And you're just like, shut up, Kevin, right? You're just like, that's my
Kevin.
song. I don't know. Every time I don't know what name to use, I say Kevin. I don't know.
Aw,
why.
poor
But-
Kevin.
Poor Kevin. For me, Kevin is like the intern. He's like the guy that does weird stuff. Anyway,
Aw.
Kevin, I don't know. I have a friend called Kevin, but it's just an
Have you
expression.
told him this?
Yeah, he was not a huge fan, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I wonder why.
Yeah. So, but the whole point of this collaborative aspect is who is going to control who owns what. right? Because again, that's a way on these big social platforms to make you disappear as the original artist.
Yeah.
Because if everyone can remix it and cover it and so on, then in the end you disappear, because maybe there's one of the 57 version of your song that's going to pop and people will forget that it was you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you go into content protection, copyright lawsuits. That's a nightmare. No one wants to go into this kind of landscape.
Yeah, it's
no one wants to talk to a
painful.
lawyer. Yeah. And so it's really scary because just like, okay, great, I could be in front of a larger audience, but I'm potentially diluting my brand. And if you want your music to be heard, well, I guess your favorite case is you are actually the one singing it.
Yeah, I guess I feel like it's just about making it like so original that you just kind of have to have your name on it. You know, like it's your it's like your creation, and there's like no doubt about it. Once it gets to like that, that's kind of, you know, the goal is to be unique, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because that's how you kind of stand out. If like, it can be weird. There's some weird stuff on TikTok, but if it's unique and if it hasn't been seen before, it's like, it's going to have an audience. It's going to have like a, you know, like
I agree.
Little cult following behind it.
I agree. Let me challenge you on this one. Your version of Big Girls Don't Cry
Yeah.
seems unique to me. A lot of people don't know the original version.
feel
If
like
they
most
hear
people
your
do.
version first, they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, like this song is amazing. What's her name, Mae Mae?" And they're gonna start following you. And someone will say, "Fergie, anyone?" And we'll be like,
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's why you put, it's a cover, exclamation point, underline, like in the caption.
And this is where like you need to put the good credits and stuff. But when you're on like a scrolling app, like no one is checking that. People are gonna follow you. That's the only pushback I have on this. It's like I agree, but it's just I don't know how we can organize ourselves as a society or like in the music industry to be sure that, again, did you write the song or not? It's becoming more or less irrelevant. But if it becomes too irrelevant, then you're not going to make money out of it, which means that you're not going to be able to live off your art.
As,
which means that
as
you will not
annoying
write
as
another
it
good
is,
song.
as annoying as it is to hear like, oh, you have to make money out of everything, like that's how you make art, you know? Like you have to have that, otherwise you can't eat. And if you can't eat, then you can't make art. So
I'm saying this all the time. I'm pushing all artists to actually think business more and more. This is like, now for example, you talk about marketing, but copyright and strategy.
it's a lot to think about. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, you know business managers, so that might be helpful. But no joke, this is, I'm in business right now. I'm CEO. I have my own company, right? And I'm trying to tell people I also write songs, right? You can be creative. There is no law that says you're forbidden to ever step into the business world. It's actually, I recommend everyone to do this. Look at Jay-Z, right? When you have a good business acumen, like it kind of helps. So or Russ, that is this independent artist, right? Like, so I really recommend every artist to actually take a look at how the business side of things work, because otherwise it's only a matter of time before you're going to get abused by someone in the business world.
If you think about it, I always hear people saying, oh, you should learn how to mix, you should learn how to master, you should learn how to produce your own songs, because otherwise people can take advantage of you. And that's all in the creative side of things, but I feel like that also kind of applies to the business side of things. It's like learn how to market, how to like know your way around copyrights, and like understand what's going on behind the business side of things too. And that's like the same philosophy applied to the mixing production side of things, because you can write the song, but that's only, you know, one part of the entire thing, and it's a massive project just to like get a song out there.
Yeah, 100% aligned with what you just said. It's super important, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Well, I mean,
like,
everything's tough now. Like when it comes to the music stuff, I feel like it has gotten a lot easier though. If you think about it, you know, there's people collaborating and on different things, and like sometimes you can get lost in it, like originality wise and everything. But if you think about, like, I was just talking about this, like, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know how many years ago, probably when I wasn't alive. And there was like,
calm down.
Okay, so
Tread
let's say
carefully.
when there were like,
The word old is gonna pop up at some point. I'm looking at her. I'm just like, young lady, you gotta calm down. No, go ahead.
Okay, but let's say like
I'm kidding.
you know how you can produce on a laptop
Yeah.
and you couldn't
Yeah, I
do
know
that
it's
like
a
a while
laptop.
ago?
God damn it. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
laptop. No, but
Someone gave me this device the other day. I really don't know what it does. I thought it was a remote with the TV.
oh, well, let me
Really?
tell you. No, but when you think about like old studios and like all the little knobs and stuff,
Yeah.
you don't really need any of that anymore.
I still see this in a lot of video clips. I'm just like, who still uses
Who's
it for
out
real?
there using those little knob things? Like I have
Yeah.
no clue how those work. It's terrifying. But
It
like,
is.
I mean, if you think about how much it's like progressed from then, like you needed so many people just to like do a single song. Like back in the days, like you needed like all of the like the audio engineers. I don't know the whole process of things, but I remember like they're like talking with people who do know about that stuff, and it's you needed so many people just to like do a single song. And now I can just kind of, so you're in your bed, you put the blanket over, you can get a microphone, you record like a song, you produce it just with your little keyboard.
So that's why I failed, but yeah.
And then
aligned.
you bounce the whole thing into an MP3, throw it up on DistroKid, and in a month or so, it's out.
No, that's awesome. I
That's
agree
like
with you.
crazy. That's like one person doing one thing.
I agree.
Like the whole song all by yourself. Like it's so much easier now, I feel like. And like, of course, with the new efficiency and the new like simplicity of things, there's going to be new complications that also come up and like new things to navigate. But I feel like it's a lot less exclusive than creating music is a lot less exclusive than it used to be.
Aligned.
It's like giving the ability to create music and for other people to hear your music. It's giving that power like to the actual people,
I totally agree. What do you think? Yeah, I've so many questions again. But for example, now with the AI companies, the whole point is that you can create music just with a prompt, right?
But is it original music? If it's just based off of everything on the database, like it's bound to be the least original thing that there ever has been, because it's literally all that the AI can use to learn is other people's work. And it doesn't work exactly like a brain does, because we use that as inspiration and they use that as literally the only thing they can use. Like they're not creating new things out of that. They're just creating little amalgamations of everything that's already been out there.
Aligned.
That's kind of
preach. So, yeah, fully aligned.
I mean, I've had time to think on this stuff.
No, it's fully aligned. I think it's a bit. It's a world that sounds a bit more sad, where like people can just create just by prompting something.
But is it really like creation?
Yeah, exactly. The concept of creativity is now being challenged.
Yeah.
And we never thought of this maybe 2 years ago. But anyhow, it's like, yeah, not 15 years ago.
No, it's
right?
crazy,
But
yeah.
It is not. It goes really quick.
Now we're all old.
Oh, she's trying to make me feel good.
No, it's
okay. Do you see, by the way, in the States, some kind of decline in TikTok usage? Because I read a lot of things.
Oh my God, there's been like so much happening with that, right? I literally don't think like there's been any decline.
Okay, so you think
I don't think there's. I mean, when I look at my friends and stuff, like, they're still using TikTok.
No one left the app. No one is like, is it going to be banned, not banned?
I think they're just kind of going with the flow. That's kind of what everyone's has to do nowadays, because there's so much going on. Like you have to go with the flow. You have to just be able to adapt, because there's so much change going on all the time. Like especially with my generation, everything that has been, we're just living through historic events like day after day after day. There's something on the news that'll make it into the history books.
Yeah. So it doesn't make sense to anticipate too much,
because you
don't know what
can't.
tomorrow
There's
will
so
bring.
much going on. Yeah.
No, that's a fair point. I never thought about it this way. It's like, why would you anticipate so much?
If you're born into this kind of world where everything's always changing, you have to be able to just kind of be like, yeah, okay.
Got it. Makes sense.
So in India, they did ban TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it did have a lot of impact.
Yeah, the TikTok ban in India, it definitely impacted. And now what's funny is that in the States, if I understood properly at a very high level, Trump was against trying to organize a ban, a new election, new president, that didn't like go anywhere because it seems like it's not very legal.
Yeah, not to
And
get
now,
into like politics or anything, because that like
and now it's at this little like politic touch, which is just like, and now he's back of saying, oh wait, if we ban TikTok, it's just Meta-owned platforms. It's just like Facebook and Instagram, and so I prefer that there is actually competition. Like this is better.
Well, I mean, competition keeps things improving.
Yeah, I agree.
That's like how that's how innovation comes about, is when there's competition.
I would still regulate for like usage under 12 years old, for example, or 14
It's
years
hard
old.
to regulate it though, because like,
Super
you know, like
easy.
how do you do that?
Oh, I'm an IT guy. Don't ask.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Like you can hack phones on the other side of the planet. So trust me, if you want anyone with a 12-year-old, like any phone that you know a 12-year-old is using, you want them to not be able to use any app, you could.
Oh God. Well, that's a whole new thing to think about.
You could, and I think that's also like it's a whole new thing. Like the on the parent side of things, like this is something like, because now in the UK they just released 2 weeks ago a study about the physiological, like irreversible impacts on human brains of small kicks of dopamines, which TikTok and so on are giving, right?
Yeah.
For I think kids younger than 14 years old, right? So if you have like this kind of usage, I think it's like 2 hours a day, which is like nothing, like lightweight compared to nowadays usage. If you're under 14, you have, I think it's like more than 50% chances of provoking irreversible physiological impact on your brain, which means that you might not develop gray cells as quickly as other people. You might not, I don't know exactly all the concept, but like connect dots. You might not be as smart, basically, long story short. And so no one wants their kids to grow up and say, use this because I need to sleep today. You might be a bit stupider later on in life, but I had my nap today, right? So it's like no one wants this. And so a lot of countries are actually debating this. In Europe, they are discussing this because, again, if it impacts the creativity of the next generation and their IQ and so on, you might want to take a look into it.
It is a little terrifying. There's a lot.
It's super terrifying.
For sure.
I don't know. So this is like, it's very gloomy. So like to bring back the mood real quick. Your EP is out. The first song is out now, right?
The whole thing is out.
On all streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Let's see if you do a marketing campaign for the second single. Mm-hmm. I'll be following. We can riff off on ideas, right? And right now, so we just discussed about the landscape. We didn't go too much in the music business. Like we stay on the marketing side and production music of things. Imagine that you want to, whatever it is, like create music in a more efficient way, or market it in a more efficient way, or perform in a different manner. What would be like one tool, if you had a magic wand, or one service that you would like to have right now that would really help you in your endeavors in music, for example? That's how I wrap up all the podcasts. I really like it.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's a make-a-wish concept.
I'd say just like a closer engagement with like the real fans, because I heard this statistic that I think like 50% of your streams come from 10% of your listeners. So it's really finding the people that like really resonate with your music and that'll play it over and over again. Because I have those artists where, you know, that's all I listen to. Like I have a playlist that's entirely that one artist, and I'll just put it on repeat and I'll just listen. And I've heard those songs, you know, hundreds of times, but I'll keep listening to it because there's always, it just, you know, gives you that feeling, or it really just resonates with you in that way. So it's really finding those people that like really feel like that with your music, you know, and just being able to, you know, reach out exactly to them. Because with so many social media services, it's so broad. You see the people who will forget your face in a day. You see the people who will forget your face in a week, or the people who will forget it in a year, or like, but there are those people in the mix of all those that will like never forget it. And they're really hard to find, but they're there. Like as long as you reach out, you'll find them, you know? So it's really finding the way to specifically connect to those people who will listen, who will take that extra time to like really get into like the nitty-gritty of your stuff.
It's perfect. I'm going to use this as the promo clip.
Nice.
For launch my platform. I fully agree with you. Fan engagement and the ability to break the fourth wall between a creative and their audience, people that want mind-expanding experience.
Let them know you're a real person.
Yes. And you can provide them with way more than just a song.
Yeah.
You can show them what's around the song. What's like so many people would be fascinated to see
the
your
brain
process.
behind the song, because I love listening to interviews. I love watching them because that's how I know who created the song and like who really created the song behind the art that they put out. Like, who are they,
Perfect way to close the podcast. Thanks a lot, Mae Mae, for coming today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Cheers.